I'm Thalia Tran, and you're watching the Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press. Today I'm happy to be joined by Thalia Tran. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you for asking. I know we were just saying that it's been a very exciting past few days. Of course, just a few days ago, it was announced that Avatar: The Last Airbender would be returning for seasons 2 and 3. So you get to see this whole story through. I mean, how are you feeling? And did you have any inkling ahead of time, or did you find out with the rest of the world?
You know, I we've been waiting patiently for a, final answer. I know there are big talks about, what could possibly happen. And I think ever since we've really been filming, I've been talking with other cast members to be like, have you heard anything? Have you heard anything? So it's been a solid couple of years that we've been talking about, has anybody heard anything? Because, we want to adapt the full show, and we want to be able to adapt the full arcs of the characters, and so it's something that we've all been really excited for. And hearing that news definitely just made my day, made my year. um, and I'm really excited with the rest of everybody to continue on this journey.
Watching that video that some of the main cast did with Daniel, it was like so nerve-wracking, and you could see the
I
disappointment
know.
on their faces initially.
Yes, I've done something like that to my dad before. It's
Is
fun.
it
I'm not
not
gonna lie.
fun?
Daniel, I feel you being on that side. When you're on the other side of it, like watching Daniel, that part's not so fun.
I know, but hey, it's all good news at the end, and I mean, hopefully you'll be back in Vancouver filming in the near future. But before we jump into the show and dive into May, I know your first love was music, so tell me about this passion for you and how and when it first started.
Yeah, I've been involved in music since forever. My parents tell me stories about how when I was a baby, I used to hum myself to sleep, and of course, I don't remember that. But I think that really did continue through my childhood. And, with my sister, I'd make up like little songs, like the random stupid songs that kids make. But I think my parents really saw in that a real passion for, music. And, nobody in my family is in anything remotely close to the artistic world. And so I think I'm really grateful to them for seeing that and really nourishing that passion, and them signing me up for vocal lessons. And then from there, I'm branching out into, piano lessons, guitar lessons, music theory lessons. And I think through all of that, my passion just really grew, and I've been really able to grow over the years in terms of my own artistic style and my enjoyment of music as well.
Amazing. I was watching some past YouTube cover videos that you did. I think it was like a 7-year-old Talia. You were so good even back then. Your voice, I mean, Jar of Hearts, Someone Like You. And
Thank you.
to today, you're still doing covers. You know, you post on like
Wow.
Instagram and TikTok. Kate Bush is running up that hill, of course.
Yeah.
Really amazing song. What's your favorite song at the moment? Like, what's been your most played song on
Ooh,
Spotify?
that is such a tough question. Ooh, because I feel like I'm playing the same songs over again right now. I love I See You by Coco Jones. I think that is how you say it. But yeah, I've been listening to that one a lot, more R&B style. And yeah, that's just like the last one I was thinking of that I was playing.
I know you said you have learned piano and guitar. You also do the ukulele. Do you have a favorite instrument overall that you play?
So the one I've been playing the longest is piano. So I think my loyalties lie to the piano. But I feel like each of the instruments has such a different vibe, and I have two guitars that I love dearly because they're so fun and convenient. You can't bring a piano around with you everywhere. But I would say that my comfort instrument when I'm composing music, particularly, is piano.
And that one's a hard one. I mean, there's so much theory involved in all instruments, but I played piano when I was younger, not anymore, but it
Yeah.
takes a
Yeah.
lot to keep up, right?
Yeah, I have not kept up with the classical piano. So sorry, mom and dad. I know you paid a lot for that, but I have kept up because, at the end of the day, their goal wasn't for me to be a classical pianist. Their goal in signing me up for lessons was to grow my love of music, and it did that. And so today I continue playing, pop music. I continue composing music. I continue playing around on the piano. So I think that really accomplished the goal that we were going for. Yeah.
You mentioned composing. You also like write music, kind of songwrite. When did this start? What do you enjoy about these processes of
Yeah.
music?
I remember when I was little, I feel like all kids do this, but I would just start singing random songs to my sister with like the stupidest lyrics that I could come up with. But it was just fun. I think a part of it is just like a fun challenge, like trying to come up with what words rhyme here and what melody can I do here and obviously over the years that has expanded into like what emotions can I convey here, what journey can I take through the song. And I think just songwriting has always been such like and it's it serves two purposes. I feel like there are times when I go to composing music to escape from what's happening in daily life. It's like, oh my god, my day has been so hard, let me just hop on the piano and just go into my own la la land here. And then there are other times when I feel like songwriting really just grounds me in my current reality. When I'm like, I need to process my emotions right now. Let me just go onto a keyboard and put this into words and into a melody rather than like screaming my head off. I think it's a lot healthier than that. So I feel like it's been a really important part of me discovering, my own inner world and really processing everything.
And that's so great that it can do that for you, like being a bit of a cathartic process,
I
is
highly recommend it for everybody, no matter what level of music you're at. I feel like you don't have to be, I feel like there's a pressure to be like the best songwriter in the world. And admittedly, I put some of that pressure on myself. I'm like, if I hate it, I'm just going to scrap it. I'm going to throw it away. But the process itself is something I feel is really wonderful and really important to get involved in because it really is so healing. And I recommend it for anybody.
songwriting. I mean, what are you inspired by when you're writing music? I
Yeah.
mean, you're still so young. You're like 17 years old. So what kind of themes are you writing about?
Um, I am writing about a lot of different things, and I'm also 18, by the way. The things that I'm really inspired by are like, well, obviously other music. You listen to other singer-songwriters writing music, and I'm like, ooh, I really love that. And yeah, I kind of go off of that, and I'm like, I want to take some elements. Obviously, I'm not going to copy the entire music, but I really love the element. I love the way that they had the lyrics here, or I love the way that the melody jumped here, and just little things like that, and incorporating it into your songs. And I think when you're listening to music as a songwriter, you're listening for little elements like that. So whenever you hear a song like, "Oh, I need to remember that for next time," and then there are other things like you hear people telling stories. I think that's why I also love being an actress, is because you get exposed to lots of stories. You get to meet all these people with very unique and really compelling stories, and you're like, "Wow, how can I put that into a song?" Because that is, both of them are just different mediums for storytelling.
Can we expect new music coming soon? Or I know
Um,
that you said original music is really expensive and hard to make. So a
yeah,
lot of it, like you're still kind of a work in progress, but is that
yeah.
an end goal for you?
I I do feel like that is a little bit of an end goal for me. Um, I think that's something I've been working on kind of my entire life, kind of, and whether this particular song is the final product or if that's just, a step into the process of becoming a better songwriter, you never know until you look back later on and you're like, you know what, that one's not good. But it got me to where I am now, which is better. So it's all just like a learning process. And I do want to eventually, release some songs. And, it is it's a process, right now everything is just like within my own room, right? I'm writing the lyrics, writing the music, and kind of seeing the vision for the song come to life. But working with, I've heard people working with producers and really like bringing all the other um, instruments into it and stuff like that. Right now, it's just one instrument and my voice, and that's it. So it's pretty simple. It's pretty. I think it's mainly focused around like the heart of the song and the emotion, and I would be excited and interested to work with somebody to see how that can, turn into something a little bigger. Yeah.
Hopefully you get that chance in the future, but hey, acoustic, you can never go wrong with that
Yeah.
either. I know that you've been working on your voice for years, so clearly that is not a problem. I know it was your vocal coach too who initially recommended you start
Yep.
acting
Yep.
lessons to enhance your performance, and you fell in love with these classes. So what drew you towards this new kind of performance, and how did it connect with you differently than with music?
Yeah. I I remember that prior to taking my first class, I don't think I'd ever given much thought to acting at all. I did not know what was involved. I just didn't think about it. And so when I went to that class, I didn't really come in with any particular expectations. And, he, sat me down, gave me a couple of sides, a couple monologues, maybe a couple scenes, and we went through them, just like read them over. He's like, okay, what are your thoughts? I'm like, what do you mean? What are my thoughts? And he kind of was like, well, what do you think? What do you think the character's feeling here and here and here? How do you think why do you think she's reacting this way? And I think the question of why was really what grabbed my attention. I think that's kind of where I'm like, oh, why? I don't think I ever questioned why. I think that was really what sparked my interest. I was like, that is a really interesting question because I don't know why. And he's like, well, great. The process of acting is learning why, and then portraying that to the audiences. And so I think that was a really, really that's where acting really connected with me, asking questions of why and learning why people are the way they are and living through that truth on screen. And, music is also largely centered around emotions, much like acting. But I feel like they're two very different things. When you're singing in front of a camera or an audience, you're connecting with the viewer directly. And when you're acting, you have like a scene partner who is there with you, and you're connecting with that person in real time who's, living out their own truth, and you're living out your own truth, and you're seeing how those truths intertwine. And I think that's a really interesting thing to do. And I enjoy both of them a lot. And they're just, yeah, they're similar but different. Yeah.
I think it's great that you kind of have connected with so many like different facets of the arts because it's all a form of kind of like storytelling and then something that you like to do. And theater work is not your long-term career goal, but you have been able to combine both, music and acting as part of musical theater. So tell me about your time on stage and what lessons you've learned.
Yeah, so being on stage, growing up doing some of that stuff because, I think as soon as you sing, everyone's like, okay, get into theater. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. And I think that, even though that is not what I foresee for my future right now, I will always be grateful for the time that I've spent, doing stage productions and stuff like that because, there's a real sense of family, that on in a theater production, when you get out there and you only got one shot to do the scene right, and there's a sense of trust that has to be had between the cast members in a live production because it really is you fall back upon the actors because nobody's there to yell cut, nobody can edit the scenes together. It really is being ready for anything. And I've noticed, when I work with actors who are really experienced in theater, I'm like, wow, I really love what you're bringing to this. It's a sort of presence that like they're ready to give and take at any given moment. Like they are just in it because I think they're so used to that from theater. And I'm like, I really, really admire that. So that's something that I've been trying to take more from the theater actors that I've come across. Yeah.
Part of a musical stage reading last year, Miss Hysteria. So, how was that project to kind of work on?
That was super, super fun. I think that was my first time returning to the stage in a while, and I got to work with all these wonderfully experienced actors, and it was just super, super inspiring because you see this musical and its beginning stages of development, and you really get to grow with the writers, because the writers are still working on certain parts of the music. And they're like, okay, do we like this part? Do we not like this part? And I got a glimpse into that songwriting process for them, and I thought that was really, really wonderful. And when I'm songwriting, I'm writing for one voice, but when they're songwriting, they're writing for all these voices, all these characters. And that was just so fascinating to me, seeing how they're like, okay, how can we change the melody for this up here and then have you guys harmonize down here and having all those chords intertwined. And it was really, really interesting. And, the cast for that was also really, really wonderful. And they are all super supportive. And yeah.
You're thinking it's hard enough for me to write for a single person myself. Can you imagine like all these different
I
voices and all
know.
these different stories
Wow.
in one
Very, very
performance?
impressive. Yes, I will say to anybody who's writing musicals out there, I have no idea how you do it, but I am very impressed.
Another past project of yours was Council of Dads. What did your time on this show teach you about the industry and about having a family on set?
Yeah, that was my first experience being a series regular on a show, and that was really, really wonderful. And I couldn't have asked for a better first experience as a series regular because the cast and the creative team, they were all just so warm and we really were like a family. I moved across the country and we shot there for like half a year or something. We lived out in Savannah, and so we were on location for those shoots, and I will forever remember those memories that we made there. You know, um, and getting to be surrounded by people who are also very experienced in their craft. And it was nerve-wracking, if I'm being honest, because you step onto set and you're young and you're like, oh my God, this is such a huge opportunity for me. And I would go to my parents and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I would cry sometimes, and they're like, it's okay, because at the end of the day, all you can do with this opportunity, you can't really question about, whether or not somebody else would have deserved it more. It's not a question of that anymore. You just have to take the opportunity, be grateful for it, and move forward and do with it what you can. And so I think it was really important for me to just focus on being present whenever I was on set, and just learning from those that were around me and soaking it all in. And I think I really did. I really grew from that experience. And um, yeah, I love my Council Dad's family for forever. Yeah.
Like they say, just seize the day. And you mentioned soaking it all in, just really being a sponge and absorbing everything around you. And especially like you mentioned, the experienced actors on set. So how they conduct themselves and how they interact with others is something that's also like so important for young actors to learn.
For sure. I think there's such a and being an actor, there's so much. I feel like you feel pressure to like do big things and do this, and everyone's telling you do this, but no, do that, and it's very confusing. And I think that at the end of the day, it's just about being present and just soaking it all in. Good, bad, everything in between.
Tell me about the strong female role models in your life, like the ones who inspire you and support you in your life and your career.
Yeah, I would say that I definitely have a lot of strong female role models within in my family. I'm very grateful to have grown up with that. My grandmother, my mom's mom, being a widow during the time that she was bringing my mom and my uncle to the United States, or to Germany first and then to the United States. But yeah, that takes a very immense amount of strength, and I think she really carried that on to my mother and my mom. She's a very, very, very strong woman, and I've always looked up to her, that her independence and everything, and hopefully that strength lives on through me. And of course, my sister has always been one of my biggest inspirations in life, and both of us being two girls raised by a very strong mother. It's a very female dominated household, and my dad embraces it all, and yeah, I'm grateful to be surrounded by a lot of female power.
Your dad is outnumbered at home.
He's outnumbered, yeah. Sorry, Dad.
I think it's nice to kind of think about that. And, International Women's Day was just the
Ah,
other day, but also, playing strong female characters that I know you hope to do. And you're doing with Avatar, it makes you kind of think back at who you can kind of pull from and their
exactly, yeah.
strength. So moving into Avatar, The Last Airbender, how was the premiere in LA? And tell me about your red carpet look.
Yeah, that was like so insane and so fun. It was my first time being reunited with the cast in a long time. So that was super exciting for me, and I got to meet lots of wonderful new people, and it was really just like a giant party. I've been looking forward to that. I remember when we were shooting, we were even talking about the premiere, like, I wonder when it's gonna be. And it finally came, and it was really everything I could have imagined and more. And it was my first time seeing the pilot episode as well. So that was super exciting to see it in theaters with everybody and seeing everybody's reactions and experiencing it for myself for the first time. And as for my look behind it, I wanted to lean into a little bit of like I wanted to go gothic inspired and a little darker side because I felt like that suits May. Like I feel like May would wear that in modern day. Like she'd be a goth girl. Yeah. But she my stylist kind of put together a look, so shout out to her, Juliet. Thank you. Um, she helped me put together the look. She asked for my inspirations, and I sent her some inspiration pics, and we got I got fitted, and yeah, we put on some jewelry and everything, and it really came together. It was really, I feel like you wait forever, and then all of a sudden you're there, and you're like everything's like happening so quickly, and I feel like that's Hollywood, it's Hollywood for you. But yeah, it's super fun, and at the after party that was super fun as well. Getting to just hang out after, like, and everyone's just like still like, oh my God, that was amazing, and you get to just talk with all these people, and everybody's just super excited, and that energy is just infectious.
Just going off the buzz from earlier in the day, I know that your stylist, Juliet, posted photos and she described the look as Gothic goddess, which it was just definitely the truth. I love the jewelry, the nails, also the
Yes.
designs on the
Okay, that
nails, and
was
they
my first time getting like a professional manicure. Let me tell you guys, if this is your first time getting a manicure, I do not recommend getting really sharp nails that long because it is so hard to do things. And because I had like kung fu practice like a couple days later and I couldn't close my fist, I was like, "Oh, this is a problem." So, yeah, just a warning. I love those nails though. They were super fun and I felt like sharp. I don't know.
how are you able to sign autographs with those nails?
Like, like everything was
Very
like
carefully.
very. I know it was everything was like
You felt like claw hands,
yeah,
essentially.
it is
Edward
claw.
Scissorhands, something like that.
Exactly. Yeah, I need some tips. If anybody out there wears long nails regularly, I need some tips because this is hard. Yeah.
Throw them Talia's way. She needs them
Yeah.
for the next time, for the next red carpet event. I know you also got to meet some of the other cast for the first time because
Yeah.
it was such a big ensemble. Like you it didn't really
Yeah.
get to meet everyone. Maybe is it like Yvonne, Maria,
Yeah.
Sebastian? Did you meet all of them for the first time,
So
or had you met
Maria,
any?
Maria, I had met before at a Bride Back event, and yeah, I had met her like last year, so that was super fun. And Sebastian I think we got each other on Instagram first, so we kind of knew each other, but no, we had never met in real life. But Yvonne, that was the first time I had met her. She's wonderful, and yeah, who else did I get to meet for the first time? Some of the original cast. Yeah, that was super fun. Dante and Michaela, both of them are super sweet, and that was like magical seeing them. Like I was hanging out with Momo, and we were like, oh my God, is that Toph? And we were just like fangirling over from the side, like, no, let her do her interview. Let her do her interview. And we're like, okay. And so that was really fun. I got to talk to her at the after party, and she's super sweet.
And it's so nice to have their support as well. The fact that they were all there and are supporting like the new live action. I know Toph is a character that everyone's excited to see in the
Oh
live
my
action in
gosh,
the
I am
future.
excited to see it. I think I feel like everybody, including the cast and creative team, is excited to see who gets to bring Toph to life because that is such an iconic character.
And you also, I think it was the after party, also got to hang out with Percy Jackson Olympians, Arian, who I know is
Yeah,
friends
yeah,
with your close
yes,
friend now, Momona.
yes, he is super sweet as well and super talented, and we actually share a lot of similarities in where and in our growing up childhood. So that was surprising. I was like, "What, dude? We're like low-key twins." But yeah.
What can you share about your audition and casting process for the show?
Yeah, I auditioned for other characters first, as yeah, I think I mentioned on a couple other ones, but yeah, and at the time, we changed code names like a couple of times, so it went from like Blue Dawn to Trade Winds, and at the time I was auditioning, it was Blue Dawn, and I had no clue what I was auditioning for. I didn't even know they were making a live action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I was not caught up on that news, so I didn't know that was a possibility. Um, so, I just did all those individual auditions, and then they brought me back for this deadpan character named Molly, who goes to a private school. Well, yeah, when I found out that it was Avatar: The Last Airbender, I was like, what? It, what? I feel like that was probably everyone's reaction though, too, because like, this is such an iconic show, and just to be able to be involved in that is just something that will shock me for the rest of my life. So yeah,
You initially auditioned for Suki and Ty Lee, right?
yeah. Yeah, I think even when I met Sebastian for the first time on the red carpet, he was like, "Did you audition for other characters first? I feel like you would." And I was like, "Yeah." I think it's because like people get a little surprised when they find out that I play May as opposed to some of the other more bright and cheery characters, and I think that's really fun, to play characters that are a surprise to people.
Yeah, and just embodying like someone else. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's good to be similar to the characters. Sometimes you want a challenge, and when it
yeah.
presents itself, I
I
mean,
live for
you
that.
stood up for the challenge.
Yeah, I feel like as an actor, these are the opportunities that you really live for because, of course you're going to get in, like, of course you're going to be able to audition for roles that you're similar to, right? Those are the roles that you most commonly audition for. But it is these roles that really go against your presentation and really go against what most people see you as that really challenge you and are really rare. And I'm so grateful that I was able to book one like that. I feel so lucky.
I know that you, Lizzie, and Momona did not do a chemistry read before you were cast. So tell me about how you bonded when you got to Vancouver. How did you get to know each other and build that friendship?
Yeah, so both of them reached out to me also, or yeah, we were corresponded on social media first, and we're just like, oh, hey, when are you guys coming out, blah blah blah. And so when we did come out, we're like, okay, we have to hang like at some point in time because I feel like everything is going so quickly here. We just need some time to just bond and just to get to know each other, so that we feel perfectly comfortable with each other. And you know what? We actually bonded just really quickly. I think even just through our first day in stunts, you're like, okay, I definitely feel comfortable with these people. I trust them, and that I think that is the first layer of like being able to work together as actors is you have to be able to trust one another, both on a personal level and as an actor. And that's what we felt. And yeah, we did some. Oh yeah, we went out. We had like a girls' night, girls' day, whatever we want to call it. And that was super fun. We went to like an escape room and we went out for dinner, and that was super fun. And just getting to talk with them all day, and they're really really sweet girls, and I really love them so much. Yeah.
Momona is from Vancouver, so did she take you around her favorite places in
Yes,
the
yes.
city?
I don't even remember what it's called. I was gonna mention, I'm like, but I don't actually know what this place is called. But yes, she took her and her mom took us around to it was like by the water, and then this place, it was also by the water.
Granville Island?
There are a lot of places with waters. We didn't, okay, we were gonna go to the island, but Lizzie had more training, I think, stunt training. So we're like, okay, this is not
Next
feasible.
time around, was it Victoria that you were going to go to?
I really don't know the names of these places. I really don't know. I I just
You
showed up.
need to brush up on
Yeah,
your Vancouver
yeah.
knowledge
I'm
when you
like the
come back
place
here.
with the water and the mountains, and there was like a road, and we went to this place with like flowers. It was very pretty. We got to see some Canadian geese who they're aggressive.
As long as you don't try feeding them, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah,
But yeah, you're probably getting used to the environment. I mean, it's a
yeah.
lot of like trees depending on where you go. But I mean, I hope you enjoyed your
It was
stint in
super fun. I
Vancouver.
had such bad allergies when I was there. I did not expect that because I feel like Vancouver is very clean, but I think it's like different allergens than over here in California. So I was like, I don't think I'm used to this.
Just the new environment.
Yeah, different environment. Yeah.
I loved the TikTok that you did with Daniel, the
Oh
Charlie's
my God.
Angels
Yeah.
parody. So whose idea was that?
Ooh, I don't remember because I remember all of us were like, we should film a TikTok. That might have been Lizzie's idea, considering it was on her account. But we were going like through TikTok sounds. And we're like, which one should we do? And then we came across the Charlie's Angels one, and we're like, oh my God, we have to get Daniel to do this with us. And he was so sweet, and he did it with us, and it was like we were filming little parts of the TikTok right before like rushing off onto the volume, and we're like, okay, rush back, okay, get this little clip, okay, no, go back, and we forgot to film like the rest of it. That's why the it ends at the karaoke party because we forgot. You're like, oh, we didn't film the rest of it, and like whatever, just film it here. So yeah.
I mean, it's fun to know how it all kind of came together, but I'm glad that Daniel was game to do that with you. I
Yeah.
mean, hopefully lots more TikToks and online content with the cast to come.
I think we have some more. We'll see when Lizzie posts them. But yeah, that's up
They'll
to her.
probably be rolling out as you know, we need to feed the fans with something.
She has the best TikToks. Oh my God. Love her.
So in terms of your character May, like what were the specific qualities that you pulled from the source material to aid in your portrayal of her?
Yeah, so, Cricket Lee did such a wonderful job of bringing that, of really giving her characterization through her voice too. And I think that was something that I really took note of and tried to work on. And then also you notice with May, there's when she's not fighting, there's a sort of stillness to her that really conveys that air of boredom. And she also, of course, sighs a lot. And I hope I get to sigh more next season. I love sighing. So fun. And yeah, I think she has a very like laser focus, especially when she's fighting. You'll see she narrows her eyes, or like right before she'll like throw her knife, she'll do like that little like smirk. And so I'm excited to be able to play around with that. Yeah.
Nice to kind of pull from like these little subtleties that you think about in the detail, the dry delivery in her lines. I
Yeah.
mean, that's like another, like you mentioned, the trademark. And
Yeah.
what's really interesting that I've noticed is she shows a lot of like kind of self-restraint,
Mhm.
because I feel like
Yeah.
she's passionate about a lot of things, but
Certainly. Yeah.
it's in the delivery and how she kind of holds herself. What
Right.
aspects were you drawn to in her past, with her family and her upbringing? Just a note to viewers that we are discussing spoilers from the source material as
Yeah.
well. But like, what did you think about and how it shaped her in present day?
Yeah. So, being coming from privilege, that also comes with, I think, a heavy responsibility for her. And she feels, a lot of pressure from her parents to, act a certain way, to present a certain way. And I think that is something she has carried with her through childhood. She has kind of been formed into the person that she is today. And this is the version of herself that has enabled her to get by in life. Quiet, stoic and deadpan, just because you don't show emotion, you get by, you can get through it. And that's that's that doesn't diminish what she feels on the inside. It just presents differently. So I think that was something that I really took note of, as well as growing up in the Fire Nation with I was gonna say Momo and Lizzie, but that's not their names. Azula and Ty Lee. um, Growing up with them, I think part of their bond is also their shared experiences of their upbringing in the Fire Nation, and the pressure of being children of like, well, like governors, noblemen, like Fire Lord Ozai. Yeah, and I think that is something like when you're under shared hardships together, you really come together underneath that. So yeah.
To your best understanding, what does May value? Like, what is important to her?
Yeah, I think the first thing you can make note of about what she values is loyalty. How much am I able to spoil?
You can spoil. We're gonna put
Okay.
a disclaimer like in the video text
Okay.
as well that if you like haven't watched
Yeah.
the series, don't watch this interview yet.
Yeah, so you see that in with her loyalty to Zuko that really ultimately prevails. She really has a loyalty to the ones that she loves, and she'll really stick through in terms of that. And I think that is something that I can relate to as well, like loyalty to my loved ones. And also I think there is a very specific element of, you know, focus and dedication that you really see in her. That's how she got so good at knife work and martial arts. That takes a very high level of focus and persistence, and you see that and at the level of control as well, as you were saying, self restraint. And I think that's all very important into forming her into the person that she is.
So we don't see the beginnings of the Ozai's Angels friendship, but did you consider what May's background was with Azula and Ty Lee and the dynamics between the trio? Because I know you mentioned like them probably growing up together in the Fire Nation. Did you kind of make any kind of little backstories in your head? Of course, that's not canon, but how they first met and, kind of that loyalty that lies within the trio, at least for the time being.
Yeah. Yeah, we so prior to shooting, we we did some like acting exercises with the on-set acting coach Malie, and some of those exercises included coming up with shared memories for all of us, because even though we don't see it on screen, it's very important for us to have these memories. And I also think that was a very fun bonding process for us. But yeah, they grew up together, so it was fun to like come up with memories of like, oh, they grew up together, and like, oh, maybe they did this together and they went through this together, and that was all super super fun. And yeah, having history with people really does affect your relationship with them. There's a certain strength to your relationship that's been grown over a long period of time, especially over those fundamental developmental years.
Can you share any tidbits about, what they did together when they were younger?
I first of all, it's not canon. Second of all, I
Disclaimer, it's not canon. This is
yeah,
just
yeah.
an exercise. Yeah.
I don't know if I would necessarily want to share all of that, just because it was a little bit. I don't think we shared it with anybody except for us.
We'll
Yeah,
let
it was.
you three keep it as your
Yeah,
little
I think it
secret.
was like, but that I think that's a fun little part. Is like there's something like not knowing. There's a certain mystery to their background, right? And we kind of like, okay, we got into the room, we created these memories, and nobody else on set knew about them. Not the creator. No, it was just between us, and I think that's something that's really fun. It's like a little shared secret, and there's power in a secret, and yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we'll share the secret someday, but whatever.
It's something that I think you should treasure. And hey, I mean, I'd love if there was any kind of flashback scenes and seeing the little like young Ozai's
Yeah,
angels running
I
around
know.
and getting
I'm
to
like,
uncover that.
yeah, because I think in book two originally there were some flashback scenes, and I'm interested to see how they handle that. That'll be interesting. Quite.
Maybe at that time you three can like provide a little
Yeah,
input or
yeah,
something like that.
that'd be fun. That'd be fun. I'm really excited to see what they do with book two, season two. Yeah.
So we meet May in episode 3 as Azula openly resents her brother, compares their missions and successes. I mean, what is May thinking? Can you expand a bit more on her thoughts? Because we know that she kind of is envious about him exploring the world, even Azula being out in the city, but what else is kind of running through her mind?
Yeah, so I think we see a little hint of the childhood crush that May had on Zuko. She's still thinking about him even though he's gone. But with Azula, I think being very familiar with her, being best friends, I'm familiar with her perfectionistic nature, of her competitive nature, and so I'm saying this, I'm like, oh brother, there she goes again. Like she's, and I don't think at episode three, I'm not fully aware of the scope of what this is going to grow into, because that is an arc for Azula as well, becoming more and more obsessed. And so I was like, oh my God. Okay, just yeah, no, you're fine, girl. And just reassuring her as a friend would, and in the way that May would, not in a very affectionate way, but just very like you're it's whatever. Yeah. And yeah, I think it'll be exciting to see where that goes, as we see her character kind of changing and growing.
I mean, she's also oh so casually flipping the knife in her
Yeah.
hand. And I know you're a fast learner because you learned that shortly before you filmed that
Yes,
scene.
that was super fun and a little bit nerve-wracking to make sure that I would get that right. What I did not want to happen was attempting it and then failing at it and ruining every take. I was so nervous about that. I was like, okay, Talia, you have to get this right. If you ruin every take, you're out of here. But yeah, that was super fun, and I'm grateful to the stunt team for teaching me that because I think that's a fun little character detail.
Was there any kind of trick that you used to help you and make sure it didn't go flying?
Well, you know what? Maybe I just got lucky because he just taught me that, and I was like, okay, I literally just stood there flipping my knife right before we're filming, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna practice this over and over again, and I think that's all I can do because there are no really other tricks to it. You just have to do it, and so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna practice, and I'm excited to see the knife throwing in season two because I've been told that it is not particularly legal to throw actual knives at people. So I'm excited to see how they handle that.
Have you been practicing in your off time now
Right.
with any kind
Knife
of prop?
throwing. Oh, I okay. I took one of the the little daggers home. I was allowed to. For the record,
You didn't steal
I
it.
wasn't steal
You
it. The prop team told me I could take it because there was a slight defect in it. So I have that one to practice with, but no actual knife throwing at people.
not yet.
Um, not
We'll
not
wait
yet.
until you get into a controlled environment and then you
Yeah,
can practice all you want.
exactly. But my dad does collect knives, so I think that's kind of cool because now we already had a bunch of knives in the house. So I'm like, now maybe I can learn how to throw
He's
them.
gonna lock the cabinet. He's like,
Yeah.
no way.
These are out of reach for you. I put a child lock on it. But yeah, that is that's something I'm looking forward to, kind of, training with knives.
In episode 5, May further watches Azula spiral in her quest to best Zuko. She uses a lot of force with a sparring partner that May actually kind of has to pull her back from. How
Yeah.
is her perception of Azula changing as she
Yeah.
continues to train and seek her father's approval?
I think I'm slowly like I'm coming to the realization. I'm like, oh, this is growing into something that's way beyond just simple things and beyond the sparring partner. And there's a real like an obsessive desire growing underneath this. And I don't think that scares me away from her at all. May is a very strong character, and she's ready to handle things. But I'm like, oh, this is becoming more than the Azula that I thought you were, because yeah, she's really showing her colors or her inside emotions here with her as we see her developing her blue lightning, and that is that yeah, she's trying to be there to reassure her friend, but also like keep her a little bit like keep her head straight because she's going off a little bit off the deep end. So I'm like, okay, keep your head straight. Yeah.
I have to ask, are May and Ty Lee obligated to watch Azula train? Because at the end of the episode, we see them
Ah,
sleeping, and Azula continues to practice, the firebending way into the night, and they just kind of have to be there.
no, I don't think it's a rule of the Fire Nation, but I wouldn't be surprised if, Azula had said something like, they have to like be there. But I also wouldn't be surprised that, they kind of want to be there. That's their friend and they want to spend time together. If you ever had like besties and you do random stuff together and maybe one falls asleep and the other's still doing stuff, but just to be in each other's presence is nice. And I think that's also a fun, little thing that without words kind of showing their connection, like them being there for her, even if they're not conscious. But like, yeah, it's they're still there. And also I think I loved that shot, by the way, the one with Ty Lee and May sleeping, because that was super fun. And we heard Lizzie like in the background. That was super fun. But I'm I'm interested to see how they develop May and Ty Lee's relationship as well in further seasons, because I think there's a really strong bond there too.
Yeah, I know. Like they go off and do their own things as
Yeah.
well and have their own missions. I know that there was a fight scene that you've said in other interviews that was cut between the three of you training.
Yeah.
Who came out on top?
I think we all know the answer to this, Azula.
I mean, were you thrown on your back or was it like a civil
No,
fight?
it was so I think it was the one leading up to the trainer scene. So she's like, okay, I'm done with you guys. It was very interesting. I'm not sure. I think I'm allowed to say all of this, but like there were beams and there were like poles and like we were going to yeah, we were doing things and basically she was just going higher and higher and higher and she was on top, but then like once she like defeated us, which we weren't like burned or anything. It was just like we're just like out, you know, like when you like you're out. But like she moved on to the trainer. So that was really fun to film. And what even if it didn't make it, I'm super glad I got to film it. It was a super fun experience between yeah, me and the girls and I'm excited for more scenes like that too.
I
And
mean, you're getting your taste of stunt training already, so
ah, I know. That was exciting. I think that was my first time in a harness too. Although my stunt double when they yeah, my stunt double did a lot of the harness work because that stuff is hard.
I'm curious, how did the hair, makeup, and wardrobe help elevate May to you and add to the realism of the story?
Yeah, so there were multiple iterations of the wig that we had gone through because we're trying to see how true to the animation you want to be while still being, you know, functional and good for screen. And it was tough trying to replicate it every single time because it wasn't just a wig; it was multiple hair, like multiple parts to it. It because wigs don't come like that, like with the little things. So yeah, it was definitely a struggle, and they were trying to figure out on time to make sure you know we had an approved wig by the time I got to set. And yeah, I think just putting all that on and in the clothing and looking in the mirror, I think all of that external stuff really puts up like it's almost like a physical barrier to your myself, and I feel like that connected with you know the emotional barriers that May has, you know, like she puts up a wall but also this clothing and this hair and this makeup is also a wall to that to shield who I am, and I think that was really fun. Yeah, I and yeah, seeing myself as the cartoon was just was really hilarious and also just really wonderful.
How heavy was the wig? Or were they able to use
Ooh,
light material? Because
oh
she
my
has like the
God.
thick bangs, and you mentioned the buns as well.
My hair, my this is no fault to the hair team by the way, but my head was so sore and then so many bobby pins were in my head all day long. The bobby like I felt like a million like bobby pins like straight into my head. But like it is what it is. But also my clothing was so heavy.
Like I can imagine it's just like weighing you down. So
There are so many layers to it. I don't think like people don't see all the layers to it, but like there are a lot of layers. I had to have people help me get dressed because there are so many layers. Um, yeah, once I get on the bottom layers, like people are like, okay, put on this coat and then this coat and then this coat and then put the belt on and then the second belt on and then the glove, the second glove, and I was like, oh my gosh. But it was super fun. It was like gearing up, like getting ready for battle, and I think that really helps put you in the mindset as well of you know a warrior gearing up for a battle.
you're gonna have to learn how to move swiftly in those
Uh,
costumes.
I think they had some adjustments to my stunt doubles costumes because it really is very thick and very heavy. But um, I think when I'm doing stunts, we'll work it out. I think it's all doable, and you know the stunt team is really wonderful in it, as is the costumes department, and I think it'll all be figured out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they work together on the best ways to, for the choreography and everything moving forward. So from the animated series, we know that May and Zuko have a romantic relationship. Did you and Dallas ever connect during season one and discuss this as a possible storyline? Like, what are your thoughts on bringing their love story to the screen?
Yeah, so season one we didn't have any scenes together, and you know, Dallas does a wonderful job with Zuko. I mean, I'm sure everybody's seen it by now, and just in awe of his work. But yeah, we never really discussed the future of the characters. I think we were all just focused on the present day scenes because you know he has a lot to do, you know, and we were all stunt training for our respective scenes. And so we met first at stunt training because he was training for his scene, I was training for my scene, and you know he was super kind, and you know we got to hang out a little bit off camera, but Yeah, I love May and Zuko's love story, and I think it's really sweet how they become a different version of themselves around each other, get to show a little bit of a softer side, and I'm excited to see how the writers explore that and explore the development of that.
I think it's such an important part of both of these characters, especially
Yeah,
with May giving her that the extra added emotion for what we know what's coming with like her and Azula. So I think
yeah.
it'd be really nice to see, and of course, I'm sure you'd welcome working with Dallas more.
Yes, 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 absolutely. I mean, this entire cast. I'm like, I want to work with all of you, each and every one of you.
Even
Um,
if it doesn't make sense in the
it doesn't make
way.
sense. I'm gonna sneak into your scene and work with you just because I can. But yeah, I'm excited to work with. Oh my God, there's so many scenes I'm excited to do for season two, and I was talking with the other girls about it. The second that the announcement came out, we were literally me and Lizzie and Momo were literally texting each other like, oh my God, we're so excited. There are so many things that we can't wait to do, and I think the cast, we have such a wonderful bond, and that hopefully shows through on screen, and yeah, it's gonna be really fun.
Which was your favorite scene in season one and why? So a scene that May was not in.
There's so many good scenes. Oh my gosh. I think mm, one scene that really stood out to me, I was the blue spirit. The blue spirit, like it's a sequence, I guess. But that was so epic. Oh my God. And afterwards, see a little bit of the interaction between Zuko and Aang, and that's really sweet. Also, when he goes back to his ship and is greeted by his crew again, that really got me. Oh my God. There's so many moments that got me. I love Zuko and Iroh's relationship as well. And I think, you know, our cast just has such great chemistry with one another. And I think that really shows through on screen, and it makes the emotional impact just that much more.
So now that we know, of course, seasons two and three, what would you like to see or explore with May personally?
Yeah. Ooh, that's such a good question. There are a lot of things I really want to see more of her dynamic with Ty Lee. I think especially because at the end we see how Ty Lee helps out May, and I think that really shows, she has to make a critical decision. So I think that's an important part to see for Ty Lee's character development as well. I'm also excited to put on the Kyoshi warrior makeup. I think that'll be super fun. I don't know how long it took Maria and Yvonne to get that makeup on, but
I think Yvonne said at the beginning she was in the chair for like 2.5, 3 hours, but they might have gotten it down a bit
yeah.
after that. But
Oh, we'll see.
you'll
We'll see
be
what
there
it
really
says.
early on in the
Yes,
day.
yes, early mornings. This is the only thing that I'm willing to do early mornings for, just to be clear, because I am such a night owl. But when it comes to filming and stuff like that, I'm like, all right, I'll wake up in the morning, I guess. But yeah, it really is fun. You come out before the sun's even up. It feels dangerous. It's fun. Yeah, Oh, I'm also excited to do the drill scenes. With the drill through the wall. And I'm also really excited to meet Toph. I'm I'm really excited to meet Toph. I loved her as a character growing up, so I'm excited to see who plays her.
I mean, how about her? I mean, her parents and Tom Tom. That would be
Oh, that's so true.
interesting.
I'm interested to see how they handle that. Also, having a baby during a fight scene. uh, I mean, obviously it's going to be completely safe, but I'm interested to see how they handle that, and I'm interested to see who they cast as my parents. That's always a very interesting thing for me, and I think especially as an Asian actress, it's very interesting how to see how they cast my parents. Because, for example, for Council of Dads, yes, I had parents, but neither of them were Asian. I play adopted people, and I play characters like on Sydney to the Max. I play characters without, my parents aren't present in the show Little. Also, my parents aren't present. You don't see them. So I think this is an interesting opportunity to see who they cast as my parents, because I feel like we see that a lot. I feel like it's easy, when you're non-Asian, like you see parents and then the child, and I feel like I don't ever get parents. So I'm excited to get Asian parents.
I feel like I'm just excited for the
Excited.
parents too. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like this show has such a good representation and so much
Yeah.
diversity that I mean, fingers crossed we do get to explore her home life. Of course, we don't know yet, but I
I
know
do
that
get
it
it.
would be a great part for her story as well.
I know. I want to see that. I it's not from the cartoon even, but like the mochi eating scene from like the comics. That would be fun. Like when they steal the mochi. That
Right.
I,
I just want to eat food too.
yeah, I think that'd be really interesting to. I wonder how much of the other stuff they're going to tie in, but you know, we don't know. We'll see what the writers do.
In 2019, you were studying martial arts, learning kung fu. Can you tell me a bit more about your training, before the series, before
Ah,
the little knife
yeah.
work and everything?
Yeah, so I didn't have a whole lot of lead time from the time that I found out that I booked the job to the time that I um, went off to film. I didn't not a whole lot, like enough, but not a whole lot. So I was really grateful to have a background in martial arts. You know, I had taken martial arts I think like middle school or something like that. And then I went off to film and then I came back. And so it's something that I always come back to, I think, because it's really fun. It's a great way of training. And, you know, I love my class and it's really fun to learn new skills. I think I'm also a person who really likes learning new skills. And, yeah, there are so many skills I want to learn. Maybe I'll get to learn some of them throughout my life.
What's your favorite like move that you can
Oh my
do?
God. Well, I can tell you what I don't like to do. I don't like doing the mabu, the we stay like in the stance and he just like for we just hold it. And I'm like, is the timer done yet? I feel like everybody in our class though, we're all like, is the timer done yet? I swear to God, you made that timer longer than it was supposed to be. And yeah, I but is all really fun and you know, getting to learn new tricks and kicking randomly in the house, surprising my parents, like, ha! Yeah.
You also more recently you said you've been doing like some MMA boxing.
Mhm. I've been getting more into that. That's really fun. There's so many forms of martial arts that I want to try out. I think, you know, when I was really little, I always wanted to do martial arts, but I just never got a chance to. You know, I've been through many phases in my life. I've done many random things growing up. So I've when I reached the martial arts phase, I was like, oh my God, this is so fun. So I want to branch out and, you know, I want to try some other stuff too. So, and I think with Avatar season 2 and 3 out, I now have a very good excuse to sign up for more classes because, you know, there are so many things I want to try out. So yeah, I'll probably be picking up some more training soon too.
Yeah, and it's kind of building that foundation for, what's to come. And it can only help you in when you
Ah,
actually reach sense training on the show. It's also helped on the mental side as well. I love a quote that you gave before about how it's not only about training the body, but training the mind. So you've learned a lot about like hard work and perseverance.
and I think that comes that's very important at when you are working really like long days on set and though it's very fun, it can be tiring. And you know, you have to really get through. And I think it also applies most of all when you're not working on set, when you are going through the audition process, when you are not when you're not doing the stuff that you set out to do and you have to put your mind into the state of I'm going to get through all of this and I'm going to get to where I want to be. You get to get through all those hard times to get to the good times. So, yeah.
Now, the Avatar, the Last Airbender franchise has so many strong, powerful female characters. And now, with the cast members in the live action, how inspired and proud did this make you feel?
I just immensely proud. I have all these female characters and the wonderful women who play them. I'm so incredibly inspired by them. You see the real the amount of hard work that they've put into their roles to dedicating themselves to really bringing that strength to these characters who deserve that strength because they are those strong, fierce, powerful fighter women, and it's really wonderful to see that. And I don't think it's there to even make like a statement and be like, oh, look, a woman can be strong. You got all these strong women. It's just like women are, it's just a thing that happens, you know? And I really love the way that is portrayed in this universe. And, you know, these women who portray these characters are very, very strong in real life. And I look up to them.
What can you say about the rest of the cast and what you did in Vancouver? I know you spent a lot of time with Lizzie and
Yeah.
Momona, but you've also done cast karaoke nights.
Yes. Oh my God. That was so fun. I'm gonna do it again. Um, we went out, Daniel organized that. So he invited some of the cast and the crew. And I'm bummed we couldn't have everybody, but we invited cast and crew and we had like a night out for karaoke. That was super fun. We had some fun songs there.
What songs? And who was the best singer besides yourself?
Uh, I have a feeling that a lot of them are very good singers. It's karaoke mics. You can't hear the best audio, but I have a feeling I can see their talent. But of course, Gyo and Dio, she's an amazing singer. You guys go check her out on Spotify. Go support her music.
I
Do
know
it.
her music. She had an EP out in
Yes,
2021.
I
So
need
she
more
is
music,
actually,
girl.
I told her that as well. I saw her at the Vancouver
Yeah.
premiere and I talked briefly about her music. I mean, you two should collab on a cover or something when
That
you
would be
get
really fun.
together next.
You know what? I'm gonna tell her that. But yeah, yeah, she's super super talented. But yeah, I want to. I feel like that'd be super fun to just have her randomly break out into song in the show. That'd be fun. Maybe she can sing Secret Talent or something. But yeah,
Avatar, The Last Airbender, the musical. I
the
know
musical.
it's a
We
trend
should
that
have
so
sung
many
Secret Tunnel in at karaoke. They didn't have that song available. Who knows why? But yeah.
someone needs to tell the place you went to add it for the
Yes.
cast next time around. Special request.
Yes. Just rest.
What can you say about the fan support? Like, what have you kind of seen online, and what has that support meant to you?
Yeah, so many people have sent me very, very kind messages online and I really, really do appreciate that, you put so much hard work and love into a project and this is something that, it's like a dream role. And to have these people giving me their love and support and really making sure I feel, supported. It really does mean the world to me, and I really, really appreciate each and every single person who has gone out of their way to do that.
At the same time, anytime you're adapting like a popular beloved series, it does leave the door open for opinions. So what can you say about any of the, not so positive reviews or discourse you've seen online? Like how do you stay focused on the positive and the work that you know that you put in?
Yeah. Well, I think to some degree, I was talking about it with, Lizzie and Momo, and when you're adapting such a beloved, iconic series, it's certainly a risk, and it's going to be controversial to some degree, always, because people are very attached to the original version of the show, as they should be. I mean, it's it's Avatar: The Last Airbender, but to the people who have been, open-minded and who have been there to support our creative decisions, and like the writers, they had to take some risks and making creative decisions to differentiate our series and to bring a new iteration of it to life. And to those who have, supported us and through that, I you are who we made the series for. I mean, those people who have remained positive, and they are what fuel our fire and they keep us going, and they are the reason why we have seasons 2 and 3. So I think that's how we focus on the positive. I know that's very easy to say with our renewal now. They're like, okay, everything's good. Yeah, we can focus on the positive now. But yeah, I think having a strong, support system and the bond between the other cast members, that's all very important because it does feel like a family. And no matter what we we go through it together, and we love and support each other.
That's so beautifully said. And it's something to remember that this isn't meant to be a carbon copy of the original series. It's an adaptation for a reason. And I know that so much love and care was put into making it. And you're a team. So like you mentioned, you're there to support each other.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's the support from the creative team as well, and from original cast members has been immense. And Cricket Lee, who voices the original May, she's just been so kind in voicing her support for me for our show, and I'm so grateful to her and to everybody who's been open to all of this and supportive.
I mean, if you have Cricket's endorsement, that's all you need, right?
Yes, that's all I need in life. My life's goal.
We will go through some tweets now. So if you have your phone.
Yes. One thing I didn't expect but really appreciate in the Avatar live action is May having the same monotonous voice as she does in the animation. I was very surprised to hear it. Yeah, that first of all, thank you. I've definitely put effort into that. You
Your
know,
voice is nothing like
yeah, I feel like sometimes I'll like slip into May's voice, like maybe that's a very actory thing to do, but yeah, I'll be like, am I still comfortable with this voice? Okay, yes. Um, but yeah, when I was trying to find it, like there's a certain period of time I was like, my voice is not doing the thing I want it to do, and then I get over that certain wall, and I'm like, okay, I think this is where I want my voice to sit, and it's very fun to play around with that, particularly as a singer. And I'm interested to hear the other cast members' experience with playing around with that voice. I got to talk to Lizzie a little bit about her process of finding it, especially for her because her character's voice is very a cartoon animated is very suited for that style, but she had to adapt it into live action. I feel like for May, it translated really well just into live action because that monotonous tone is recognizable anywhere, and getting to do that iconic voice, that was so fun. Side by side comparison: Mei Zhu Lee, Mei Zula, Mei Lee, Tai Zula, Team Azula, Ty Lee and May, ATLA, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Netflix, Netla, actor, oh, Elizabeth Yu, Thalia Tran, Momona, Tamada. Oh my gosh. Oh my God, I love the fan art. That is so cute. Stop. I haven't gotten to like reach out to everybody who's done fan art of us, but I really am appreciative of all the art. You guys are so talented, and I love seeing all of it.
Yeah, that was art by I think their name is Kay, and that was Ozai's Angels from the premiere. So it's nice to have these like little keepsakes because obviously you took a
Yeah.
photo together, and people are so talented.
Yeah, I know. I remember prior to this show coming out, we were like showing each other fan art of the original characters. We're like, oh my God, we're playing those characters. Can you believe it?
And to see people create fan art for you now, like in
No,
your version of
it.
May.
I know it is unreal. I'm like, oh my God, I am actually playing May. I feel like reality doesn't really ever hit me. I'm pretty good at dodging reality here, but yeah, it's seeing that it's like this really did happen. I don't know, maybe it's starting to hit me now a little bit. We'll see. When I get back on set, I'm like, is this real? I like the May in the live action too. She looks so bored of everything. Thank you. I love looking bored. I really appreciate that. Went through a lot of effort to look very bored. Yeah, that was something that was super exciting for me. I remember, we were just like dancing behind the scenes, and then we're like, okay, camera's on. Okay, whatever. I don't care about you gay people. I'm bored. That was a super fun transition to just like be getting ready to like snap into the boredom every single time. And I think that is so cool to have somebody who's like so bored and like, whatever, I don't care. But
If you
also at
have
the
a
same time,
teenage girl bored
yeah,
phase like
it,
that.
it really is. I feel like it is like relatable. It's like whatever. But um, getting that, but also still being such a skilled fighter. So you see that she does really care about things and things she cares about them very passionately. And so I think that's very interesting to see those complexities in her character. Talia Tran liking this live action May and Mako. You will gag so bad. I love Zuko more than I fear you. I can't wait to see you deliver this line, Queen. Oh my gosh. I am really excited. I'm really, really hoping that they keep, and I think they will keep, some the iconic lines from the original, but I'm such a fan. I love when people comment the quotes from the original series because I'm like, yes, yes, spreading the love for the series, both the cartoon and the live action, and I love it seeing those, our community just do that. And and I really am excited to, get into those scenes. I'm looking forward to it just as much as anybody else.
The real question is, have you been practicing that line at all?
I well, I'm not gonna lie. I have been saying I do go around the house saying random lines from the original. However, I want to make sure that when it comes to saying that line, um, eventually in season 3, which I can say that we have now, which is super cool. But I want it to feel very much like May, but obviously also feel very authentic. Like I'm not just trying to to copy her, like to imitate her. I'm actually just living her reality, and I think that is also something very prominent on the minds of all the actors here, that we want to be true to the cartoon versions of our characters, but we also want to keep that grounded in reality. And I think that is a really, really fun balance that we get to find throughout our process.
Yeah, so I think that being said, it kind of makes sense that it'd be fun to say the lines, but it's not something you want to rehearse at this point. Like you haven't gone through those experiences as your
Yeah.
character yet.
Yes, I think it's nice to be able to go on the journey with the character, which I think it's really fun. It's been like 2 years or so since we filmed this. And I have grown, and it's moving on to book 2. Our characters have grown too, so I'm excited to see how they handle that. Also, to see how they handle Gordon growing up so quickly. Um, he
His
shot up.
voice has already gotten so much like deeper
Yeah,
since.
however much he shot up, his voice dropped tenfold. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how they manage all of that. Talia Tran, you are beautiful, and I can't wait to see more of you as May because you did an absolutely amazing job so far. That is really sweet. I thank you. I really am grateful for the people who have expressed support like that, and I'm really really happy that there are many people who have appreciated my interpretation of May, because that is what I came to do, right? To give an interpretation of May, and that hopefully aligns and resonates with people, and people can cheer for our characters, even if we're on the wrong side. But yeah, I really love connecting with people who are rooting for us.
Well, I think you'll have a lot more love to come in the future, in future seasons, as we see May's story develop. Now, I just wanted to touch a bit upon your culture because you're Vietnamese American. So tell me
Yeah.
about your Asian heritage and how your culture has shaped who you've become and your values.
Yeah, so I a child of immigrants, like many Vietnamese Americans, and I feel that, my parents' experiences being refugees, coming to this country with like nothing and not knowing speaking the language, and having to build their way up from scratch. I feel like that really this generation, the first generation, like Americans, like it has really impacted us, those values that they kind of they developed through their hardships, and through their experiences, fleeing from their country. I think that has really had an impact on me growing up. My parents, I'm, incredibly privileged to be living a stable life, to be a native speaker of English, to have all these opportunities that my parents did not have, to be able to pursue a career in the arts, which was not even something that my parents could even consider as a possibility for them. I think all of that, a sort of awareness of all that, and culturally, we they carried over many of the cultural celebrations and the traditions that they took here from here with them from Vietnam, and I love being involved in that. And I'm even though I went to a predominantly white elementary school, I was grateful to have a core group of friends, which included some Asian people. And so I I was able to embrace my heritage growing up, which is also something that, um, my dad didn't always have. Like yes, he felt comfortable in his home, but he also went to places where he was like the only Asian person. So I'm grateful to be in a place where I can be secure in my heritage and embrace the traditions that we have, and embrace the food, and embrace the family, and embrace all of that.
And you also have like your parents as well to talk to, I'm sure, about their experiences, and it's nice to hear
Yeah.
from their perspective as
It
well.
is, yeah, it is interesting how much can change within one generation. You know, they work their butts off, and I'm forever grateful for that. They work their butts off to get their lives to be as stable as they are, as thriving as they are, and I get to benefit from that, and I get to build from here. And so I think that is something that really drives me as well as knowing what my parents have been through. And they're like, okay, if we can go through that, you can go through anything. I'm like, okay, I can do it. I can do it. And I'm also really grateful to have their support because I know some people, coming from a background that has struggled so much, it does result in a type of trauma that stays with you for the rest of your life, and it has dissuaded many people from pursuing a career in the arts or more unconventional fields. But my parents, they said if you learn anything, that life is unpredictable and you should do what you love, especially if you are able to. And I am, and I'm very, very lucky.
That is so sweet, honestly, to hear that. What's your favorite Vietnamese dish?
Ooh, there's so many. Oh, I love renewal, of course. I think I was just thinking of that because my grandma was eating that. But anyways, I also love gendo. I know I've talked about that before. I love gendo, specifically with bạc hà. Uh, that's all my favorite. I also ask my mom, like, can you get the store and buy bạc hà? Yeah, I recommend you guys go get some Vietnamese food. Very good. Good for the
What's
soul.
your favorite Vietnamese food restaurant in your city?
Ooh. When I was, well, not in my city, but we go to, Little Saigon, and we go to this place. We haven't been there recently. Also, I don't know the names of a lot of the places that we actually do regularly go to, but
They're
there's a place.
just there, right?
See, I think that's the thing when you're a kid. Like never knew the names of streets. I never knew the names of like the places I go to. I'm like, oh, the place like you go down here, you drive a little bit to the right, and like, there's a parking lot here, and then there's like the stores, and then there's a little square here. That's where we go. But one of the restaurants we would go to is like I think they changed the name, but Pho Bacco, and then Gwen Hut, and I don't know which other ones. I'm sorry, guys. I know I should be better with my food recommendations. Uh, I
You'll
don't
get
know.
it for next
I'll
time.
get it
I
next.
I had there was this place I went to recently and I had these like kind of coconut rice cakes. I know they have another
Ooh,
name for it, but those are really good.
rice cake. I feel like we have a lot of things that are rice cake like with coconut. So what color was it?
I think it was just white, like milky
Alright.
white. And yeah, I'll have to find the name. I'll let you
Yeah,
know. But yeah,
yeah.
I mean, the food is delicious. And of course, there's a lot of, cultural background as well. You did voice work in Raya and the Last Dragon, which also
Nice.
prominently featured an Asian cast. And of course, with Avatar, it really spotlights Asian and Indigenous actors. What does it mean to you to be a part of projects and on sets where you feel seen and represented?
It it really is like the best experience in the world to feel like you belong in this industry. Getting to do projects like that. When I did Raya and we had the cast and the creatives, we did like a Zoom call where when the movie came out, we got to all watch the movie together. We got to do a little watch party, and it really was like an emotional experience seeing all these faces, these Asian faces, and knowing that we all have a place in this industry and we're all there for each other, and there's a real sense of community there. Um, and with Avatar too, going on set in person and you walking by just casually seeing all these Asian and Indigenous faces, and as BIPOC, like we should be supporting each other and uplifting each other, and that's what we get to do here. And it's rare, and our directors are people of color as well, and I really love that. I think it was just such a wonderful way to highlight that. And there's so much talent within our communities, and I think a lot of times we're just not given the opportunities to show that. And for people to be giving us a chance to show that and to uplift members of our community is really powerful. And I think it sends a strong message to the youth in our communities that anything is possible and they shouldn't let their race be a determining factor in what they can or cannot accomplish, no, regardless of what, Eurocentric beauty standards say that they can or cannot do, and growing up, I got a lot of people telling me that this is not the industry for me because it wasn't built by me, wasn't built for people like me. But I'm here, and so are people who look like me, and we can all do it. There's enough room in this industry for all of us. So I really encourage all the young Asian, Indigenous, BIPOC talent to really go for it. And it's going to be hard. We've made a lot of progress, but it's still hard out here. But we should appreciate the progress and keep moving forward. And there's room for you guys.
Was so beautifully said. And it's really nice that, especially within, I want to say, the past, 3, 5 years, like there has been more representation in Hollywood and mainstream media, with not
Very,
only acting, but the behind the scenes and the creative
yes,
voices. So
so
it's
important.
continuously, continual progress.
Yeah.
But it is nice to see. Aside from Avatar, are there any other upcoming projects that you can share?
Nothing that I can talk about at the moment, but I'm really excited for season 2 and 3. I'm hoping we get to film soon. I'm not sure what the schedule's like. I know that they're working on that right now, so we'll see. I don't think I'll be able to tell you guys what the schedule is. Sorry, but um, I'm excited to get started on that, and I think everybody is really excited to just jump on that because we're ready. We've been waiting for like 2 years. To get started on the next books. And I'm very grateful that Netflix has given us the opportunity to greenlight season 2 and 3 back to back so that we can do that and make the most of our time right here. Yeah.
Are there any specific genres you would like to work in the future, like dream roles, other actors, directors you'd love to work with?
Yes. I feel like I love so many different things that for every interview I could just go on and on about all the things that I want to do. However, I would say definitely some like top things that are on my like dream list are like more fantasy. I love 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 fantasy work. I feel like I'm very much a child at heart, and I think I always very much will be. um I love whimsical things, and I would love to work with Helena Bonham Carter as well because she's so whimsical, so magical, and love her. Oh, I would also love to do like a musical movie. I think that, especially because I've been working on a lot more music lately, I've just been thinking about that. I'm like, I really hope I get to, audition for music movies. And, I really hope they start doing more musical movies with Asian talent as well. I think that is something that could, use some more representation in. And I'm excited. I feel like Avatar has opened many doors, for all of us. And I'm also excited to see what the rest of the cast does because they're also talented and I know they're going to do wonderful things.
Are there any musical movies that stand out for you that you like to
Sure.
return to on your watch list?
Oh, I don't know. You see, I'm I've just been thinking about like Disney princesses. I'm not sure if this is because I've just been watching Disney movies, but
Hey, there's no shame in Disney princess
yeah.
movies. I mean, those are probably what you grew up on, right?
Yeah, it is. I was recently singing some songs from Disney movies with my vocal coach, so I was like, I might as well rewatch. Um, but yeah, um, I think those are such classics.
A whole
They.
new world, because you covered
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was singing that and I was singing Almost There from Princess and the Frog because I love that song. Best music. But yeah, there are just so many good Disney songs, really. I was talking about it with my teacher, and he was like, really, like all the Disney ballads are just so wonderful, wonderful and expansive, and they're just so freeing, and they really just hit it out of the park every single time with those songs. It's true. So good job to the composers.
I know that you like to be a part of projects that both entertain but also promote positive messages and real issues. Can you expand a bit more on that and why these values are so important to you?
Yeah, I grew up with my parents having a very strong emphasis on values no matter what I do. They encouraged me to go to the entertainment industry, but they're saying if you want to go into this industry, you make sure you have a good head on your shoulders, and make sure if you're ever feeling like a lack of support or anything, make sure you get the help that you need. And I think that's very, like, they instilled a lot of their values within me, and I think it's something very important to to spread with in today's world. There's a lot of negativity out there, but there also needs to be positivity too. And I think at the end of the day, being a storyteller, being an actor, being involved in these projects, what it really gives you is a platform. It gives you a platform to reach out to people, to spread messages. And I think, of course, my job as an actor is to entertain. So sometimes you just got to shut up and do your job. But I think when there's an opportunity to do so, I really love to take advantage of the opportunity to use this platform to spread good messages and to uplift people and to empower people, because I think we need so much more of that in this world. I see my sister has impacted me greatly. She inspires me with her positive attitude and her great work ethic, and I'm like, I want to have that kind of impact on other people. I want my existence and my visibility to mean something to them, to inspire them to live happier, more fulfilling lives. Yeah.
Amazing. And when it comes from the heart, that's all that matters really, and it's something that drives you. I have one more question for you, a signature question. If you could be any ice cream flavor, which would you be and why?
This is a tough one. I feel like if I were any ice cream flavor, I would be coffee, because I feel like just all across the board, coffee ice cream is a pretty dependable flavor. From what I've seen at least. Coffee always hits. So, and I feel like I'm also like a very loyal person. Like if you know, I'm just loyal to the people that I love, the people in my life. So I feel like me and coffee are like, yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much, Talia, for taking the time to chat. This was such a
Yeah,
pleasure.
it's my pleasure.
Well, I hope we get to catch up again in the future. But until then, for all those watching, you can catch Talia in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Season 1 is now out on Netflix. Seasons 2 and 3 are coming, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.